Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio. And now, here's our host, Dr. Vanessa Anceloni.
Dear listener, we're here live from the Chantilly Studios at Kardec Radio. Actually, it's located at the very headquarters of the Spiritist Society of Virginia. And you can always visit us. Just write to us if you're in the area. If you're visiting Washington, D.C., why not stopping by at Kardec Radio Studio and get to know of the first radio in the Spiritist movement in the United States and the world regarding English-speaking language. We will be happy to receive you here. Just let us know beforehand because, of course, we're not here 24/7 ourselves, but the programs are. Every program is on demand for you, although we do live shows right now. We have a beautiful program schedule that started this past Thursday, and everything is not only happening on the very days, but you can access it on demand 24/7. So we can tell Kardec Radio is 24/7 because you can access it at any time of the day or night. It's up to you. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m., the God at Home is a special program conducted by Franziska Kranz, who is a German British Spiritist located in London, United Kingdom. She's coordinating as the host of this program with a group of friends around the world leading these inspirational God at Home meetings. It's fascinating. It's worthwhile stopping by on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. and listening to it. On Thursdays, we have Spiritist Talks. Every Thursday, a different speaker is going to be here streaming their talk. Daniel Santos, the founder of Spiritist Network, is the actual responsible person for streaming the broadcast every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We keep on going the beautiful programs every Saturday, live interviews, Bridging Health and Spiritism at 11 a.m. and on Sundays. Now, on Sundays at 8 p.m., we have Spiritist Awareness. All KR segment hosts take us on a journey on Spiritist Awareness. From the Spiritist Moment with Kirsten DeMello to Spiritism in Your Life with Drs. Marco and Joyce Magalhães, Spiritism in the Gospel with Luis Sergio Maroda. Now we have also Bernadette Liao with Youth Education on Spiritism, Spiritist Music with James Maroda, listening to the Spirit's Book with Steve Shepard and John DeRosa. We also have listening to Happy Life and new segments that are also coming up. Our Home with Livier and his family, Mental Health and Spiritism with Dr. Ricardo Bianco, and our own segment on spirituality and the brain when we talk much, much more about these features. So we have a lot to share with you, and we are happy and rejoiced that today we are going to discuss with Dr. Nathan Lambert about his most recent research on how prayer to our partner, our spouse, can actually shift motivation for partners and change their relationship. Something that science has never showed before, and it's the first time it's being shown. So something we think you should pay attention, we all should, because it's very unique and it really matches everything we have been seeing in Spiritism. If we go to the Spirit's Book by Allan Kardec, Kardec tells us, he actually asked, question 662, may one pray effectively for others? The answer of the illuminated spirits was, the person who prays for others acts out of a will to do good. Through prayer, It attracts good spirits who cooperate in the good that a person desires to do. Wow. We're going to discuss this and a lot more, not only with Dr. Lambert, but with you, dear listener. You know, you can call us at 858-769-4705, and we're here live. You can call us. We'll be happy to talk to you. Also, we can have the Blog Talk Radio chat for you open, so you can write what you're thinking about and how you're feeling about it. Or you can send us an email at kardecradio@gmail.com or Facebook us at facebook.com/kardecradio. There's so much to share with you. And before we actually open the line and talk to you about this and Dr. Lambert about prayer and how praying for our partner really shifts motivation in relationships, we want to remind you that on August 24th and the 25th, the Atlanta Spiritist Movement is organizing a 2-day conference. It's their 6th Atlanta Spiritist Conference. You can get more information about the theme and the speakers who will be there at www.spiritistconference.org. Also, the Canadian Spiritist Movement, especially the Toronto Spiritist Society, is organizing several events this coming September. First of all, they are receiving Divaldo Franco, the renowned medium, on September 26th, and he is going to be there to talk about Psychology of Gratitude, which is actually one of his latest books, received from the Spirit, Joanna De Angelis. The lecture is going to be on Thursday, September the 26th at 7 p.m. at the University of Toronto. You can get to know more information about this since seating is limited and tickets have to be purchased at the Toronto Spiritist Society website at www.torontospiritidsociety.org. Also on September 14th, Dr. Andre Moreira from Brazil, who is a physician, and he's specialized in naturopathic medicine, but he's a physician and he has been working on several different aspects on spiritism. He has published several books on homosexuality, healing, self-healing, love, self-love, etc. He's going to give a talk in Canada, Toronto, Canada, on September the 14th at 6 p.m. And again, if you go to the website of the Toronto Spiritist Society, you'll get to know more information. But remember, Dr. Andre Moreira is also going to be in the United States for a tour in several locations, including here in Chantilly, Virginia. He's going to be here on September 18th, the next day at the Spiritist Society of Baltimore in Maryland, September the 19th, and several other places. So we would really recommend that you mark down your calendar and get to know more about these unique opportunities to get to know more about health, spirituality, medicine topics. For now, the topic of today: can you believe when we pray for our spouse, for our partner, things may shift in a relationship? How does that happen? Is there a specific recipe for it? Or is just thinking about a God and praying in general gonna help? Actually, we want to ask you, dear listener, how often do you pray for your partner? Because often we pray about so many things, but how often we pray for the person who is closest to us? Not praying that they change their ways, but praying for them, hoping that things get well, etc. How often do we do this? Do we wait for troubled times to pray? Or do we simply pray every day because the person next to us is really the person we are living our daily lives and we have chosen to? So science has first-hand data clarifying many things that we didn't know till then, and actually it is confirming the Spiritist view on prayer. We have a lot to share because Dr. Nathan Lambert, a researcher, you can go to his website at natelambert.info. He's a professor in Utah, and he has been focusing on the positive relationship processes, including prayer, gratitude, etc. We have a lot to learn from him today, and we hope you're really gonna enjoy it. For now, we're gonna kickstart the program, setting the tone with the message Fruitful Prayer by the Spirit, Joana de Angelis, through Divaldo Franco, in the book and CD, Living and Loving. And if you want the book and the CD, just go to the Spirit Society of Baltimore's website, www.ssbaltimore.org, and in their bookstore, you're going to find the very book and the CD for you. After the break, Dr. Nathan Lambert with us to talk about partner-focused prayer changes motivation.
Chapter 14, Fruitful Prayer.
Prayer is for the soul what bread is for the body. To pray is to open oneself unreservedly to God. To pray is not just to list a number of requests and supplications. Instead, it should be a thanksgiving for the gift of life. When you pray, you establish a link with the whole creation. Silent prayer is better than verbal prayer because words create visual symbols that may interfere with your inner aspirations. When you pray, you identify yourself with the Father and all His other children everywhere. You should pray as naturally as you feed yourself. True prayer is an inner communion between you and God. When men and women become aware of the power of prayer and the boundless positive energies that floods through it, nonviolence and understanding will govern communities and nations, furthering peace to all. Prayer is the language that inspires the spirit and opens doors to higher perception. No one who wants personal perfection will succeed without prayer. Prayer picks up those who have fallen, soothes our anxieties, and teaches us to forgive others. Prayer should be the prelude to all human actions, since it fortifies the soul and enables it to overcome any difficulties. Feed your physical body with food. Feed your soul with prayer. Without prayer, your inner link with God will be hampered. Prayer should be your joy. It will help you to face your many battles. The vibrations of prayer bewilders the sinner and helps them to awaken to reason. Prayer inspires noble souls to join forces to assist others. Without prayer, the soul withers like a plant without water. Pray as much as you can. Moreover, try and make your daily life an act of wordless prayer. Jesus taught that to pray is to attune to God and to the whole humanity. It is to soar above your fellow man and still be linked to them. Gandhi surprised the world with his praying. He helped to liberate his people from political bondage and taught them that with prayer they would find the way to happiness, to spiritual growth, and to inner freedom.
We will return to our program after these messages.
Getting to the Light, Spiritist Therapy for Discarnate Spirits is a small book that offers guidance to Spiritist practitioners and Spiritist counselors. Purchase your copy at www.ssbaltimore.org.
Nourish your soul with Kardec Radio.
If you missed out on any previous shows, no worries. We have an on-demand section of all previous shows and interviews. Go to our website at www.kardecradio.com.
Spread the word, Kardec Radio, to learn more about Spiritism.
Help prevent suicide by reading and sharing these books with others. 2 great books are available to help in this Kardec Radio campaign to prevent suicide. Suicide, All You Need to Know, by the international Spiritist speaker Richard Simonetti. You can buy your copy at www.roundtablepublishing.com. uk.com. Also, Memoirs of a Suicide by the medium Yvonne Pereda. Buy your copy today at www.ediceiofamerica.com.
Kardec Radio, live every Saturday at 11 a.m.
Kardec Radio now offers more programs during the week and weekends. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can follow the beautiful program God at Home with Francisca Kranz and the British Spiritist community. They will brighten your days by doing a God at Home meeting wherever you are in the world, while teaching you how to do the same in your own home with your family and friends. Every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you will hear incredibly inspirational Spiritist talks directly broadcasted by Spiritist Network. They will be true educational moments to carry out to immortality. Every Saturday, live interviews, Bridging Health and Spiritism with the host Dr. Vanessa Anceloni. You may ask questions to the interviewed guests by calling 858-769-4705. And every Sunday, tune in the Spiritist Awareness at Kardec Radio. You will hear a series of segments on a diversity of Spiritist topics. Kardec will broadcast the Spiritist Moment with Kirsten DeMello, the reading of the Spiritist book by John DeRosa and Steve Shepard, Spiritism in Your Life with Drs. Marco and Joyce Magalhães, Spiritism and the Gospel with Luis Sergio Marotta, Spiritist Education for Youth and Children with Bernadette Leal, Spiritist Music with James Marotta, Neuroscience and Spiritism with Dr. Vanessa Anceloni, and many more segments coming soon. Enjoy it all and nourish your soul with Kardec Radio.
And now we return to our program.
Dear listener, we are here honored by the presence of Dr. Nate Lambert. He is being interviewed on one of his most recent findings on a published scientific paper titled Shifting Toward Cooperative Tendencies and Forgiveness, How Partner-Focused Prayer Transforms Motivation. It's a fascinating line of research that he opened up. He is assistant professor at the Brigham Young University School of Family Life in Provo, Utah, and he has been leading research on relationships, seeing the positive relationships, how they work, self-regulation issues in relationships, and many, many things. You can read more about his research at natelambert.info. And he is here with us today at Kardec Radio to talk about that fascinating research, which is partner-focused prayer. Thank you so much, Dr. Lambert, for being with us today.
You bet. Hey, it's great to be with you. I'm really pleased to be on your show today.
So before we start talking about this very research, how did you get interested and how did you gravitate into researching about relationships? Is there a specific reason that motivates you to focus on understanding the ins and outs of relationships and how they can work best?
Yeah, I guess I would say in response to that my wife and I have a really great relationship, and it really adds a lot of joy and satisfaction to my own life to have such a great romantic partner. And so I really wanted to look at, what are key factors that go into a successful relationship so that I could better help other people to improve their relationships and gain more satisfaction in life as a result.
That's very inspirational, to tell you the truth. That's wonderful. And we know nowadays that people have been troubled in regards to keeping healthy relationships, and not only regarding marriage, but mostly relationships in marriage. Can you tell us what's going on around the world regarding romantic relationships in general?
Yeah, it's kind of a scary time to be in a romantic relationship. The level infidelity. I've done a lot of research on infidelity. That's just been going up, and it affects about 20% of relationships. Intimate partner violence. Yeah, intimate partner violence affects a large number, about a quarter of relationships. So there's just there's a lot of issues, a lot of conflict that goes on, and with the introduction of so much technology that kind of a lot of people spend so much time on Facebook or on all these different electronic devices that kind of take up so much of our time and attention, and they divert us away from relationships, and I think that's having an effect on relationships today.
That's so interesting. But are there reasons why science would understand these things are happening in regards to infidelity and violence? Are we increasing rates, or is it due to a specific factor besides the technology that is in between people?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that marriage is continually being de-emphasized. It used to be something that was more highly regarded, and marriage as an institution is kind of being attacked in a lot of ways, on a lot of fronts. People are cohabiting more. People just aren't. It's not like this strong thing that, hey, we're together. It's becoming more of this idea of, hey, this is my starter wife, and then this is my, you know what I mean? It's just like the institution of marriage just isn't being regarded in the same way that it used to. I think that's a lot of why we're seeing these issues come up.
And what are the things that you have observed scientifically that really boost the positive in relationships?
Well, in addition to my research on prayer, that's one of my key areas of focus. The other thing I'm noticing is gratitude. Expressing gratitude to one's partner is so crucial to help keep it vibrant, the relationship vibrant and alive and strong. So that's kind of been my other area, but I know we're going to be talking mostly about prayer, but I wanted to throw out a little plug for the importance of expressing gratitude.
So in that regard, the gratitude, some people are like, they say, oh, but I'm grateful. I love you. I don't need to say, I don't need to tell you. But in this case, you're saying that it's important to learn to express it.
Yeah, it really is. I think sometimes we tend to take those around us for granted. We tend to get in habits and patterns, and we just expect people to do certain things for us. And we may think that they understand that we're grateful, but I think unless they hear it frequently, they're not really going to understand they'll tend to think, oh, he doesn't really appreciate me if he doesn't ever express it and actually tell you that you're grateful. I think it's in fact, we've done studies showing, one group that just wrote down things that they were grateful for about their romantic partner, and another in which they actually expressed it. And the people who actually expressed their relationships were a lot better at the end of the study. So it's, there's something crucial about actually expressing the gratitude that makes a real difference.
Wow, that's amazing. That's incredible. So would you say that people what do they need to know if they don't know how to express gratitude? Because probably they've seen their parents or older generations not very good about it. It's something we can learn, right?
It is something that we can learn, yeah. A lot of people just naturally struggle a little bit with that, but it's definitely something that can train ourselves to do more, reminders. I think a lot of it's, the importance of just making sure it's sincere, because it's easy to just say things that you don't really mean, and the people in your life will recognize that when something isn't sincere, and it's not going to have the same kind of impact. So I recommend, even keeping like a gratitude journal where you're recording things that you're grateful for about the people in your life, and also just things that you're grateful for in general, and that'll help you to, if it's on your mind, if you've been recording those things, it'll make it easier to actually express those things.
That's amazing. Now, we are going to give a short break, Nate, but when we come back, we'd like then to hear about the fascinating results you got at the research on partner-focused prayer, okay?
Okay.
We will return to our program after these messages.
New release, Liberation. In this compelling narrative, Andre Luiz emphasizes the work of high-order spirits in the effort to convert the spirit Gregorio to the good, an effort that culminates with the unforgettable re-encounter with his mother, herself a highly evolved spirit, wherein he surrenders to the irresistible call of love. The book also contains information on how unhappy spirits act as they try to involve incarnates in their wiles. The spirit author tells of the intercession of high-order spirits on behalf of human beings, demonstrating the divine compassion that grants to all the blessed opportunity to free themselves by means of study, labor, and persevering service in the practice of the good. Buy your copy today at www.ediceiofamerica.com.
Spread the word. Kardec Radio, to learn more about Spiritism.
Want Spiritist books for your children? At Edicei of America, you will find a collection of them. From the best-selling book, Our Father, in which the Spirit Mei Mei through Chico Xavier brought countless poems, stories, and folk tales based on the Lord's Prayer, to the beautiful and educational collection by the author Adelson Sales on Back to School and many others. Buy your copy today at www.ediceiofamerica.com.
Nourish your soul with Kardec Radio.
If you missed out on previous shows, no worries. We have an on-demand sections of all previous shows and interviews. Go to our website, www.kardecradio.com.
Nourish your soul with Kardec Radio.
Spiritism for Everyone, the online study of Spiritism. This year with the in-depth study of the book Genesis by Allan Kardec. Join us every Wednesday evening through the web from any computer or mobile device, no matter where you are in the U.S. or the world. Spiritism for Everyone is free, open to all, and requires no registration. For more information, go to www.spiritus.us. Spiritism for Everyone is a program of the United States Spiritist Council.
And now we return to our program.
Dear listener, we're here with Dr. Nate Lambert. He has been researching on a very interesting approach, partner-focused prayer, that probably can be a very good intervention to boost partners' relationship, romantic relationships. Right before the break, we were talking about the importance of expressing gratitude to give it a boost, to give a boost to romantic relationships. And now we want to know about the other side of the story regarding another thing we can do, something we can add to our romantic relationships and boost it up. So, Dr. Lambert, you were talking before the break about the importance of expressing gratitude, even keeping a journal. Now, there is another technique that probably can give people a hand into boosting their relationship and especially increasing forgiveness, which is praying for your partner. This is so interesting because people may pray for a lot of things, and I remember the other day we were in a non-profit organization, and we are asking the people who were in the audience, how many of you pray for your partners? And it was amazing. It was so surprising to us that rarely people, it crossed their minds. They pray for somebody else, but not necessarily for the partner. What have you observed regarding the habit of people talk a lot about prayer in the United States, for example, in respect of their religious background, but is this a common practice?
Yeah, I think you're right that I don't think it's as common as it needs to be. I know that according to the research, about between 90 and 95% of Americans pray on a regular basis, or at least occasionally. So, people are praying, but praying for a partner's well-being isn't always something that comes to mind when you're saying a prayer. And our research shows that it really has powerful effects on the relationship when you do.
And the results on your research are amazing. I just want to give a reference to those who are listening to us. You can go to natelambert.info website. There you can download the very paper that talks about the peer review publication on shifting toward cooperative goals, how partner-focused prayer transforms motivation, published in the journal Personal Relationships. This article talks about so many things that, sincerely, Nate, they are very surprising. For example, one of the things that we've read in your paper is that those who prayed for the partner, they were less vengeful in discussing something the partner had done to upset or annoy them. I mean, were these results in some way surprising to you, or were they expected in your hypothesis?
Well, I mean, they were what we hypothesized, but I think probably what really surprised us was just the number of different ways that we were able to achieve this result. So, for example, in one of our studies, we had the partners. We had one person in the relationship engage in this prayer intervention, and they prayed every day for their partner's well-being. And we had another group actually think positive thoughts about their partner. So that's a pretty strong control condition, right? I mean,
yes,
thinking positive thoughts every day about your partner. But even even compared to those who thought positive thoughts about their partner every day, at the end of the study, we asked the partners of those people who had been praying, and we found that the partners actually noticed a difference in the forgiveness of those who had been a part of the intervention. So it wasn't just, most of these scientific studies just report, it's people reporting on themselves about their own behavior. But what we were really impressed about was that even the romantic partners of these people who were praying noticed a difference in their forgiveness, in the forgiveness levels of the people who were in the intervention.
Wow. It's amazing that you would think at first that thinking positive thoughts would have the same effect. But prayer is more effective than thinking positively about your partner. And it says also that even if you are praying for your partner compared to thinking of God, praying for a partner will boost the cooperation between you and the partner. These are very intriguing and at the same time fascinating findings. Why do you think these are happening? Why are these facts? What is happening?
Yeah, well, we actually wanted to know. We were curious about what was happening because, again, we found that even just videotaping interactions with people, and we had them coded, and we found that those who reported praying more, they were coded as being more forgiving towards their partner when discussing an issue. So we had this in so many studies, and we wondered why. What exactly is it that's causing this? And we suspected that from some of our prior research that it could have been that it may be, when you're in an argument, you tend to get locked into this win-lose mentality, right? I'm going to win this argument, and you're going to lose. I'm going to win the day here. So we suspected that when you pray for your partner, you tend to forget about this win-lose mentality, and you tend to adopt more of a win-win cooperative mentality. And so we tested this in a study. We actually had people. We told them that their partner was going to rate them on the creativity of a drawing. They drew a picture and they were told, hey, your romantic partner is going to evaluate how creative this drawing was. And then we gave them some false feedback. We went out of the room, we took their picture as if we were going to have their romantic partner evaluate it. We actually came back in the room and gave them the evaluation supposedly from their partner in which they caught a 1 out of 5. Not at all creative rating, right? So they thought their partner had really dissed their artwork, and so they got this insult from their partner, and we had half the people, after getting this insult from their partner, half the people were instructed to pray for their partner's well-being. The other half were instructed to answer a question about God, to kind of get them thinking about God. We wanted to show that it's actually praying for the partner, not just thinking religious thoughts that was causing any effect. And we were really amazed to see that those who prayed for their partner's well-being were much more cooperative in a game. They had to play this game where they could either cooperate or antagonize their partner. And those who had prayed were much more cooperative during this game than those who wrote about their thoughts on God. Suggesting that really praying for your partner can really elicit this win-win mentality, this cooperative nature within you.
But the question is, what type of prayer do they do? Is there a type of prayer?
Yeah, there is. Really, there is. So we actually had some people, in the other study I was telling you about, we had some people just pray, increase the frequency of their prayers, right? Just give your regular prayers more often. And then the experimental participants actually engaged in what we call partner-focused prayer, where they think of, okay, what is something that my partner needs? What are some of his or her problems that she may be struggling with? And I'm going to pray for God to intervene and help her out in her struggles or problems. I'm going to pray for her success at work or whatever the case may be. We gave them some examples of this type of prayer. So it's a real specific kind of prayer where they're thinking and focusing on praying for their partner's well-being.
But the question here is, what makes a difference in this case by being specific in the prayer versus thinking of God or positive thoughts about the partner? How can you rule out, for example, the possibility of an external force playing a role in helping the couple in that regard?
Right. Well, I think part of what's powerful about this partner-specific prayer is oftentimes we tend to, especially when we're in an argument, we tend to see the other person as an enemy or a foe, right? So I think when you invoke the other person in your prayer, when you're praying to God to help this person, I think you tend to see that person from God's perspective. You tend to see, hey, this person is a child of God with great worth and potential, and it helps you to realize, hey, this person is actually a good person. This isn't someone that I should be fighting with, and so you tend to, I think, perceive the person differently as a result of the prayer, and then you want to cooperate rather than win. It changes your goals, the goals of the relationship. You're wanting to work together rather than separately.
So it's easy for them to forgive each other. It's easier to collaborate with each other's needs, right? As a result of the partner-focused prayer.
Exactly.
That's fascinating.
It kind of brings unity and helps you see each other through God's eyes.
Wow, that's amazing. Dr. Lambert, we're going to give another break, but when we come back, we'd like to know more about the ins and outs of this partner-focused prayer so people can get their hands on it, okay?
Okay.
We will return to our program after these messages.
Books of Andre Luis. Through the hands of the most prolific medium of all times, Chico Xavier, the spirit doctor Andre Luis wrote a series of books that unveil the mechanisms of life and life after life. From the best-selling novel No Solar, Our Home, to And Life Goes On, the reader will find illumination for a fulfilled life on Earth as well as immortal happiness. Check the many titles available at the international distributor, EDI CEI of America. Their website is www.ediceiofamerica.com.
Spread the word. Kardec Radio, to learn more about Spiritism.
Spiritist Network, your gateway to on-demand Spiritist videos. www.spiritistnetwork.com.
Nourish your soul with Kardec Radio. Traveling to another country? Immigrating elsewhere? Prepare yourself by reading the book Among Brothers of Other Lands, in which several loving and wise spirits wrote through the hands of Chico Xavier and Waldo Vieira, telling all of us the tips and hints of a successful transition to a new land. Buy your copy today at www.ediceiofamerica.com.
Do you want Spiritist books for your children? At Odyssey of America, you'll find a collection of them, from the best-selling book Our Father, in which the Spirit Mei Mei, through Chico Xavier, brought countless poems, stories, and folk tales based on the Lord's Prayer, to the beautiful and educational collection by the author Edailson Salles on Back to School and many others. Buy your copy today at www.odysseyofamerica.com.
And now we return to our program.
So, dear listener, we are here with Dr. Lambert having really a good time because he is unveiling to us something that probably you've never heard before. It seems second nature, but praying for your partner is probably something people don't do enough, if they do. And Dr. Lambert, with his group at the Brigham Young University School of Family Life in Provo, Utah, they have been researching on relationships, romantic relationships, and how processes such as religion, prayer, gratitude can really give it a boost. You can go to his website, natylambert.info, and have more information about all of his research interests, plus many peer-reviewed papers that really open new doors for not only understanding, but the practical side of it is how we can give a boost to our romantic relationships. In this case, we want to know more. Dr. Lambert, we also want to know more. In your research, you talk about the importance of praying for your partner, so we are less vengeful when discussing, we are more forgiving, more cooperative. It's really saving a lot of headaches. And if not to say for those who care for money all that much, it's going to save a lot of money regarding divorce and the problems of going wrong. Even shopping sprees, when people get too upset at home and they go shopping spree. as a side effect of those anguishes. Now, how can we tell practically the people who are listening to us at Kardec Radio, how can they do this partner-focused prayer? Because it seems to us very second nature, but for many people it may be so new, they may be asking, how do I do that? Is there a method? Is there something? Because we know from your paper that you are proposing this as a true clinical intervention sometimes. Can you tell us more about this, please?
Yeah. I think that partners could increase the regularity of their partner-focused prayer. Maybe perhaps by setting a goal. Say, hey, this week I'm going to pray for my partner's well-being at least once a day. Another way possibly would be to, when you get locked in an argument, remind yourself, hey, this is a good opportunity for me to maybe leave the room and say a prayer for my partner's well-being. So rather than locking horns and saying things that I'll later regret, instead take the time to take a time out and leave and pray for your partner's well-being. Then you'll come back and approach the conflict in such a different way.
That's amazing. So would there be other tips and hints that you could give to the listener if they, by any chance, have a hard time? Would you recommend that they see somebody specifically so they learn how to do it?
Well, I guess there's not someone specific I'd recommend. If they go to my website, as you mentioned, www.natelambert.info, they can actually look at. We actually have a few example prayers that we give in some of the articles. So that could be a resource. But I think perhaps having a goal or making a journal, a prayer journal where you're recording some of the things that you've been praying about so that you can change your habits, right? Because that's one of the most important things. Some people say it takes 30 days to start a new habit. So actually documenting what you're praying about will help you to be more conscious of it so that your prayers are more intentional.
And you also have other papers, and a paper that talks about how prayer increases satisfaction with sacrifice in close relationships. What have you seen in those studies that you've done?
Well, again, we found that praying for a partner's well-being can make you more willing to sacrifice for that partner. And we found that people, when they pray for their partner's well-being, become more unified, and that in turn helps them to be more willing to sacrifice for their partner. And we've also found that praying with one's partner, a lot of people sometimes think that prayer is an individual thing. We found that when couples pray together, it actually enhances the trust that they have for one another. They trust each other more. And so really I think, joining hands and saying a prayer, and when you hear your romantic partner actually praying on your behalf, it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. It can help strengthen and restore relationships.
That's amazing. So these are fascinating results. They really give us a lot of hope. Would you have a final comment for the listener at Kardec Radio that you'd like to share regarding the power of prayer in romantic relationships?
Yeah, I would just say that, prayer is important and it's a good thing, but it's not just about whether you're praying. So much is based on what you're praying about. And if your relationship's important to you, I really encourage you to engage in this partner-focused prayer in which you're thinking about your partner's needs and praying to God to help your partner to solve her problems. And doing so can really help you to be more loving towards your partner, just to get out of the win-lose mentality and really start a new trajectory of a win-win cooperation with your partner that will strengthen your relationship.
Wow. That's fascinating, Dr. Lambert. We can't thank you enough for being with us at Kardec Radio today, and mostly for the beautiful research you're doing, something that we can tell can be very transformative to the world today. We will keep an eye on your progress research-wise, and we hope maybe we can have you back at Kardec Radio sometime soon.
Yeah, I'd love to join you again. Thanks so much for interviewing me today. It was my pleasure.
We will return to our program after these messages. Want to learn more about the ins and outs of mediumship? The book In the Realms of Mediumship by the spirit doctor Andre Luiz through the medium Chico Xavier analyzes the various aspects of mediumistic communication and mediumship. He also praises the efforts of mediums who are faithful to the spiritual mandate they received before they reincarnated, warning them about the risks of badly practiced exchanges between the two worlds. Buy your copy today at www.ediceiofamerica.com.
The Spiritist Magazine is a trimestral digital periodical that publishes the latest news on the Spiritist thought and the movement in the USA and worldwide at www.spiritistmagazine.com.
Spread the word. Kardec Radio, to learn more about Spiritism.
Study Spiritism online at eSpiritism. eSpiritism is an online tool to promote the study and practice of Spiritism while contributing to the preparation of Spiritist practitioners. For full access to courses, go to www.e-spiritism.org.
If you missed out on any previous shows, no worries. We have an on-demand section of all previous shows and interviews. Go to our website at www.kardecradio.com.
Emmanuel's Novels. The reputable mentor, Emmanuel, wrote a 5-book series of Spiritist novels that can truly transform your life. Starting with 2,000 Years Ago, Emmanuel delights our minds with the true account of characters that are so similar to each of us. Discover yourself in Emmanuel's novels and live better. Buy your copy today at www.ediceiofamerica.com. And now we return to our program.
Dear listener, we hope you have enjoyed the interview with Dr. Nate Lambert from Provo, Utah. He has been doing phenomenal research for science. It's unprecedented. It's about the positive relationship processes, including religion and prayer, gratitude, and how they can transform relationships. Things that were never proved before. Something that seemed to be second nature, but the question is it that second nature? How often do you pray for the well-being of your partner, of your spouse? It's probably not so common. We have been asking people all over, everywhere we go, and the truth of the matter is people barely pray for the people next to them. They pray for everybody else but their partner. Is that the reason why things are complicated in relationships? Maybe. Something we need to think about, and to help us discuss a little bit more, we have here with us Kirsten DeMello. Hi, Kirsten. Thank you so much for being today as well with Kardec Radio and us. Thank you. So Kirsten is here with us. She's going to be live soon. We are here to discuss about the Spiritist view on this research. You see, 1857, in the Spirit's book, Allan Kardec brought to us the very question, may a person's prayer be effective for others? And the answer of the Spirit is, the person who prays acts out of a will to do good. Through prayer, it attracts good spirits who cooperate in the good it does to the person. It's interesting because we can merge this Spiritist revelation with Dr. Lambert's results. And it's quite fascinating because then we're going to get to know that Dr. Lambert is telling us that if somebody prays for the wellness of their partner, they feel more willing to sacrifice. And we ask why. Science cannot tell us why yet, but Spiritism can explain. Because then we open the doors for the good spirits to come in the name of God and intervene. And what will they whisper to us, dear listener? They will say, keep on going. Try this. Try that. Go ask for forgiveness or be forgiving. And they keep on going. And what about that mentality of competition? When Dr. Lambert talks about the fact that many couples have a problem because they have competition, when he talks about the win-lose mentality, he's talking about competition. And that's very detrimental to relationships. When people are like, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right. That's competition. And he says once people start praying for their partners on a daily basis, for the well-being of their partners, they start feeling more like it's good for everybody. It's like a collaboration. It's like a cooperation. So it's a win-win mentality. There is no gain in a relationship when we are right and prove a point somebody else is wrong. We go nowhere. So in this case, Dr. Lambert is bringing to us the awareness that we should really turn that shift to that mentality that we are in a cooperative relationship. Everybody's going to win if we cooperate. So it's quite interesting. Kardec in the Spirit's book asks, does prayer make people better? The answer is yes. This is question and answer 660 of the Spirit's book. Yes, because those who pray fervently and confidently straining themselves against the temptations of evil, and God sends them good spirits to assist them. Such help is never refused when sincerely asked for. Here we're talking about the mechanisms. So Dr. Lambert today, 156 years after the Spirit's book was publishing these revelations, Dr. Lambert brings to us the revelation of science. Merging both together, we got a recipe. What is it? It's up to us if we're willing to make it work, as he said. If your relationship is important for you, then work it out. How? Praying every day. As he said, we need to pray in a specific format. Pray for the wellness of your partner. Don't pray like, oh, I wish my partner changes. I wish they do this, that, and the other. No, pray that they receive the blessings, that they feel inspired, that they feel good about themselves and our family and the relationship. And then you may ask, how frequently should I do that? Every day. Because as the Dr. Lambert observed, it needs habit forming conditioning. to make it happen. And the spirits say quite frankly the same, because when they say, when we sincerely and confidently and fervently pray, we have aid to what we need. So in that case, we need to make an effort. And sometimes, dear listener, it takes only a shower moment. You're taking a shower. If you say, I don't have time to pray, well, when you go take a shower, raise your thoughts to God and thank God for everything. That moment you can pray for your partner, saying, I hope my partner is happy. There's another method that Dr. Lambert also shared, which is writing a gratitude journal or expressing it. How about if you express the gratitude you feel for your partner at least once a day? At least saying, thank you for existing. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for putting the trash out. Not because they owe you something or you owe them something, but because you're expressing that you're acknowledging that they are doing that part. And it's not trivial. Living in relationship is not something that is trivial. It's something that we're conquering, because we're conquering these steps in greater humanity, leaving the animal instincts of self-defense, because the win-lose mentality is very animalistic. I'm right, you're wrong. When we grow stronger in our humanity, we leave that realm of self-defense, of preservation, and then we go into a more cooperative mentality, because there is no win-lose in a relationship. For a relationship to work, it must be win-win. Everybody must be on the same page. So there's another technique that the Spirit Mentors also shared with us one day, which was when you see your partner sleeping, if by any chance you catch them up like in their sleep state, send them thoughts of kindness, saying like, you're light, you're a child of God, you were born to be happy. Send them thoughts trusting their divine nature as well. So we will create that vibrational field, as Kardec says, of trust, of cooperation, of kindness, instead of, always being on your toes regarding your partner. Unfortunately, you couldn't get a hold of Kirsten de Mello, who's probably having a difficult technical difficulties, but she had a question regarding the methods, and we were going to discuss, but this is the reason why we're sharing with you methods that scientifically and in Spiritism merge to the same goal, which is the partner-focused prayer. Nowadays, Dr. Lambert is trying to push this as a clinical method to help relationships. Can you believe it? You see how science is progressing? So sooner or later, people are going to get together with therapists so they can learn to pray for one another. It's scientific now. It's not something that is out of the blue. Okay, so let us try one more time. Hi, Kirsten. I hope you're there. Okay, probably something is happening. We're not listening to you. But, dear listener, we are now going to invite you for tomorrow. Tomorrow, Kardec Radio, all the segments we used to have on Saturdays, they got so popular, and we are happy about it. And now they have their own spot. It's on Spiritist Awareness. All the segments by Kardec Radio hosts are going to be streamed every Sunday at 8 p.m. And you just need to log in at the Kardec Radio and listen to it. The Kardec Radio's hosts have a beautiful program for tomorrow, starting from the Spirit's Book to mental health. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to really nourish our souls. For now, we're going to wrap up the program today with the final prayer, which can help relationships as well. We would advise you to go to the Gospel According to Spiritism. And in the Gospel According to Spiritism, there's a beautiful chapter, which is the last one, chapter 28, Collection of Spiritist Prayers, in which Kardec advises us to pray for to our guardian angel, protector spirits, to gain strength to make sure we get what we need. In this case, Dr. Lambert was talking about praying for our partner. There's nobody better than the guardian angel sent by God to help us in that regard. So we are going to invite you to pray for your partner. Let us pray for our partner. Raising our thoughts to the high loving spirits, whom in the name of God are sent to guide and protect us. Let us feel their embrace and talk to them. Dear loving guardian angels who are sent by God to care for us. Wise and benevolent spirits, messengers of God, whose mission is to assist us and lead us to the pathway of goodness. Uphold us during the trials of our life. In specific, we would like to ask for our partner, for the well-being of our spouse, giving us both strength to bear the trials without complaint, keeping me from evil thoughts, especially against my partner, helping me not to give access to any evil spirits who may try to induce me to evil, enlightening my conscience regarding my faults, and lift from my eyes the veil of pride that prevents me from perceiving your presence and acknowledging you. And you especially, my dear guardian angel, who watches particularly over me, and all you protectors, spirits, who have taken an interest in me, enable me to become worthy of your benevolence. You know my needs, and especially the need for our relationship to work, for our relationship to blossom. May God's will be fulfilled as we pray that our partners, our spouses, they receive the shower of light, making them feel their divine nature. And so be it. You can find the excerpts of the prayer we just mentioned. Of course, we adapted to the context that we're talking about. But on chapter 28 of the Gospel According to Spiritism by Allan Kardec, item 12, something really that can really help us all. This is just a prayer that was out of the heart, but it is an example of what we can do to boost our relationships. Share with people in your life that if they pray for the well-being of their partners, they can really get to another level of motivation, encouragement, and relationships. Dear listener, we hope you have really enjoyed the program today. If you have questions or suggestions, write to Kardec Radio, because we still have Kardec Radio t-shirts for you. All you have to do is write to us at kardecradio.com. We have a contact form. Send us your comments, your suggestions, and send us your address, because then we're going to mail to you your Kardec Radio t-shirt. Tomorrow, don't forget, if you're in New York, there is a beautiful event organized by the Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society, Manhattan, New York. They're celebrating their 6th anniversary with a beautiful event. We're going to be there to cherish those moments. The theme for the public meeting is House Maintenance with Spiritism. We hope to see you there. And if you want more information, just go to Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society website. Get to know more about the information. For now, lots of blessings and hope always.
Thank you for listening to Kardec Radio. broadcasting live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Email us and share your comments at www.kardecradio.com. Until next time, we wish you many blessings.